Today on Samcraft, I bring you guys down memory lane, but we also revamp this space right here to become what you see, a studio slash laser town and perfect spot for demoing new tools. Hey guys, my name is Sam and welcome back to Samcraft. That's right, today's video is going to be shop project. I'm going to take this space right here you see behind me, how it looks so nice and pretty, and show you guys what it took to get here. It's multiple days worth of work, it's a lot of clean out, it's some electrical work, lots of painting, and some other improvements to my old original workshop to give me something that's pretty sweet in the end. Today's video is not taking place in there. I have walked through the tunnel into my old shop and I want to show you guys what I've worked on for the past week, which has been taking this space from a cluttered storage building and turning it into this, a blank slate that is now going to get a little bit of DIY spruce applied to it, but become the new space for lasers here on Samcraft. Longtime viewers of my channel will remember this space, but if you're new here, it's a 12 by 20 workshop building I built here myself when we first moved to this property. I built it storage shed style, framed it all myself, and this was the original home of Samcraft. In fact, this space here behind me is where my lasers used to be. That was what I called Laser Town, and that is where, honestly, a lot of it just started. Whenever I built my new shop in 2023, I moved everything over there, and this became kind of a catch-all of junk. But here we are, early 2025, and it is time to use the space, maximize it, and get better benefit out of it. So in today's video, what I want to do is bring you guys along for an abbreviated version of revamping this project. Since I have the place cleaned out, at least the side that I want to work on first, I want to go ahead and next remove all of my electrical plate covers and outlets and prepare the walls to be painted first. It's about to get dark in here, guys, because I need to turn off the power so I don't juice up myself and allow myself to honestly remove the outlets. So let's go ahead and take the tester out, take these plates off, and remove the outlets. Pull these guys out, undo my Wago lever lock wire connectors, which I love using. Disconnect my pigtail and push the original wire back in there, out of the way so we don't paint it. With those done, the next step is to go up top here, bust my knee on the step stool, find out that that step's too tall, but otherwise, take these little junction boxes off the wall, which are actually how my wall outlets are fed, and get them ready so I can paint behind them. Alright, this is the wire that goes down to feed my outlet, so I'm going to point it up and hopefully make it to where it's not going to fall into the wall. I'm trying to avoid that. Also, since I used Armorlite metal cable, I need to swap out these plastic boxes with metal ones, but I'll do that whenever we're all said and done with paint work. Even though the lights are on, this is a different circuit. Probably should have said that sooner, just so you guys know. This is a different circuit, so these wires are not energized, so we're good. I think this is as far as I want to take the disassembly. My wires are running right here on the other side of this, and it's a collar tie really, or rafter tie, the board that goes horizontal, and it's going to stay here. So I'm going to have to drill a hole through my ceiling panel and drop this down. So I'm not going to take it off anymore. I'll just pull it back so I can paint behind it. Well, this wall's prepped and we're good to move on to the next step. The mini split I'm going to leave there, and I'm just going to get some painter's tape to tape around it and try and not paint it. It's going to be too much of a headache to pull it off. Otherwise, this wall I'm going to do the same thing. Get the boxes off the top, pull the wire down, and all that. I'll see you guys though on the next step, which is painting. All right. I got my mini split taped up, so hopefully it stays its same color. I also put a definitive stripe over there at the doorway to separate the space. So this wall would be painted, but that over there won't. And instead of it just being a random how straight can Sam paint line, I figured let's slap some tape up, which then turns it into a how straight can Sam tape line. Good enough. I also picked up some of this Drydex lightweight spackling because I know these walls have got some blemishes. I've had stuff on them over the years, and I was going to go ahead and prep the walls, but then I thought, you know what? Just send it. Let's go ahead and start throwing some paint on this wall. We can always touch this up later after we got some color splashed. And otherwise, let's get going. First thing first, I know you're going to know, what paint color did I choose? So here's a look. It is called Tomcat. It's pretty much black. Black cat paint. Is that unlucky? No, we won't think about that. Oh yeah, Tomcat grayish black. I didn't want to go all out straight up black. I went with one that looked cool in the store, which means it's probably going to look really weird here in the shop because that's the way it goes. Otherwise, let's get rolling with my big manly roller and get some wall paint painted on the walls with paint. A few hours later, and with the help of my two boys, we now have some painted walls. We had to do about 2 coats and then go back and hit it with some brushes because this is OSB, like raw OSB on the walls, and so there's a lot of little pockets and holes and stuff. What I'm doing next is tackling the workbench. I'm going to paint it with the same black paint, just coating the top. I won't bore you guys through a long session of this, but hey, at least let you see where it starts, right? I did make sure to vacuum off the work table before I started this to hopefully make sure things stay a little bit cleaner. Well guys, it's been a couple of days. As you can see behind me, there is a new addition to the space, and if you watch my channel, you'll have already seen I've done a video on the new Bamboo Lab H2D 3D printer. So that was what showed up that made me stop production on my kind of revamp or mini renovation. What I want to do now though is take the guy out of the space because we're about to get dirty. What I want to do first is take down all my lights, put up some paneling, or rather plywood that I purchased on the ceiling, and it's just going to go on the perimeter. So right here on this wall, it'll go here, and then it will go on the back wall. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to retain some storage up above, but also pretty up the edge where the wall meets the ceiling for my video content. While I was up here taking the lights down, I decided to take a peek at what I've got on this storage loft. And honestly, it's stuff that I don't need to keep up here. So I'm going to take this stuff down, and I'm going to consider just removing the storage loft so I don't just accumulate and collect junk when I don't need to. Especially if it's going to be up here hidden and become the cave of forgetfulness. This is probably the worst thing, but a really good example. This is an empty box. I was storing an empty box up here. That's silly. Here's another empty box. All right, that's it for this piece. I'm gonna go ahead and take this down. If nothing else, it'll give me headroom up here. Well, it's down, I guess. I have absolutely decided to get rid of the OSB and the storage loft up here. It's just a place for junk to accumulate. So what I'm going to do in order to give myself a nice surface to attach my new plywood to right here to create a ceiling is attach some 2x6s right here on my outside wall to give myself a nailer to attach the other stuff that I need. So right here, I'm going to put this 2x6 just like that. I'll screw it into the top plate of my wall, and down here it gives me a finished surface to attach the plywood at. That's going to be on the same plane as the bottom of these 2x4 collar ties. I'm at the point where I am ready to go ahead and attach my plywood to the ceiling. I'm going to be using some GRK 8 by 1.5 inch long cabinet screws. These are a pan head screw, and the reason I'm using these is so that hopefully I won't drive the screw head all the way through the plywood, but it'll also help hold the plywood since it has kind of a built-in pan head or washer style head. Hopefully this won't be too difficult to do, but we'll find out. I went scrounging around in my loft up here in the shop and I found some old French cleat wall slats that I had cut but never used, and decided to repurpose that into crown molding, or at least ceiling trim, to make the transition from wall to ceiling a lot cleaner. I took them outside, I painted them with the same paint that I used on the walls, let them dry, and then using a brad nailer, nailed them right up into place and touched them up with paint afterwards. I gotta say, just for some scrap wood, it really does good to really finish out that joint and makes it look perfect, really. The technique that I'm using to wire up my outlets is one that is commonly called using a pigtail, but I'm also using a combination of that plus Wago lever lock wire nuts. I am a huge fan of the Wago lever lock nuts, and I've used them for many, many years. They are more expensive than your traditional twist-on wire nuts, but their ease of use, their level of forgiveness, and the fact that you can absolutely reuse them and reuse your wires without destroying them make them well worth the investment, at least in my book. Well, after several days worth of work, this space is done. At least it's done enough for my needs and for now. So what I want to do now is go into my big shop, go ahead and grab my roll around table, load it up with some lasers, and bring them in here, because that is the number one thing going on this wide workbench over here are my lasers. I need them set up again so I can use them for prototyping, developing products, and using as well. Here in the new workshop, you're able to see a couple of the lasers. There's even one down there on the floor that I'm ready to get out of here and get put into a space where they can be loved a little bit better. This is also going to open up this 12-foot wide work table to be used for my 3D print business, which is the predominant business that happens inside this space. The heart, or rather the saving factor of any laser shop, is your fume extraction. So I've got some existing holes and vents through this shop because this is my original laser workshop. This one is a 6-inch. So I scrounged around my other shop and I found a 6-inch T. I put a cap on this end, taped it up. And so what I'm hoping is this little guy will slip right over here. Just like that. And then this is one part of my exhaust fan, and it will slide right here. And I'm going to need to get a spacer block to mount with the wall, so I can attach this to the block and hold it steady. Now we can fit the fan in here, and then I can attach the fan bracket, or I guess the part 1 of the fan, to the wall into that block. And there we go. Our fan bracket is there. We have our 6-inch T-piece. The things I need to do next is tape up this joint really, really well, then install my fan, and we can move on down the line to connect the lasers. Most of these exhaust fans just have a regular plug on the end, and you could easily plug it in and out as you need. Maybe put it into an outlet strip and use the light switch on there. What I'm going to do, since this is back in a corner, I'm going to use some of these radio controlled outlets. Make sure if you get these, they're rated for the power consumption or draw of your exhaust fan. Otherwise, you put them in line with the power cord. Go back over here, plug it in the wall, and then you use a little remote that you get in the kit to be able to turn it on and off remotely. Over here on the right side, I've got this 4-inch exhaust outlet, and then I had this 4-inch fume extractor. It's kind of wasteful to have 2 of them in this small area, but I already had the hole through the wall, and I had the fan, and I figured, you know what, go ahead and do it, because I've got a little laser here that would be perfect just to hook up for video testing and basically checking it out, and not be a permanent install for the other area with the 6-inch exhaust system. I just attached the metal elbow. Now I'm going to use some tape, seal it up, and then we'll put the fan on it. With these adjustable elbows, make sure you tape all of the joints, all of the areas where it twists. You don't want any of the fumes being forced back into your shop, especially if a joint like this is downstream of your fume extractor. Absolutely tape the devil out of it. Now I'm going to take this little guy, it gets stuck in place right here. I've got the same kind of situation, a little spacer block, going to go on the wall behind it, and then this time I'm just going to use one large 3-inch screw to go through the bracket for the fan, through the board, and into the wall. Now I'm going to wipe all the dust off of this fan with a microfiber cloth because I'm getting ready to tape up this joint as well. Alright, now with this little flex hose, what it allows me to do is quickly connect up the laser, such as this Creality. I can just slip it right on there. This is a little test machine, so I don't need to have this clamped down. If I did want to, it's an easy enough thing to do, but it's also easy to remove this, stretch it out to another machine, or coil it back up, and just leave it here on the Creality for my needs as well. Well guys, I really like this space. I love having room over here to my left or your right to have a flat wall for doing some video work, right? We got the Bamboo Lab H2D 3D printer. This guy's happy, right on top of the rolling table. Perfect to move it around, no problems there. That would be great for testing and showing it off. And then over here behind, we have Laser Town 2.0, I guess you could call it. We got the Creality Falcon A1, it's a little diode laser, working on a video on that. But then it also allows me to bring back some oldies, such as the X-Tool S1 and the X-Tool P2. I've got several products, accessories, and modifications that I'm going to be bringing to my store, and having them here is going to let me test those out, make sure they work, show you guys how they work in videos, and take product photography photos. Awesome. It also allows me to keep the lasers in here a little bit more and allow my big shop to be production, because honestly, that shop over there is all business. I still have more cleanup work to do, especially as we turn this way. You can see Junkzilla is all around on the other side of the camera, but that's okay. That's the way it goes. I've got some equipment such as my embroidery machine and everything along those lines up for sale. Hopefully that will get gone soon. That will clean out a lot of space for me. I've also got the box for the Bamboo Lab H2D. I need to find another place for it. Bamboo suggests keeping it in case you need to return it for any reasons. So yeah, there's that. But then I've got some air purifiers from Vivor, more content coming up, and stuff like that that honestly is chewing up space in the shop. Some other things that I'll do, but it's not going to be in a video, is cleaning up this old workbench corner. I'll probably spruce that up. And I don't know, maybe it will be a video later on. But for now, it's not a perfect space, but it gives me a pretty little corner over here to do some videos and create better content with. If nothing else, this is such a better use of the space than what I was doing with it a couple of days ago. Well guys, if you got any questions or comments, let me know. Leave them for me down below. If you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up and let me know as well. Otherwise, take care. I'll see you guys very soon on more content, both 3D printer related and laser related here on Samcraft. And so I hope you'll join me then.